Twitch, right? We had a conversation last night, and that conversation was based around on Anton Daniels with Q. Shout out to Q. That conversation was based around the fact that Twitch was 40 years old. And I am 40 years old. And so I was not familiar with him, but the stories behind him and the narrative behind who he was is all too familiar. Shout out to Jay Ali. Says, congrats, Anson. Super proud of you, and I'm forever grateful for the ways you have inspired me to do better and be better. Shout out to Jay. I love you. I appreciate you, Jay. You know I got your back. If don't nobody got your back, Jay, you know the Anton, big Anton got your back. All right. And again, I'm gonna just say this one more time before we really get into this. I'm down 9 pounds since the beginning of the month. Oh yes, the gym regimen, my new trainer, everything is working out beautifully. I'm going to rebrand myself starting in the new year, transitioning from January into February, and you're gonna see a completely different Anton. So it's on. And if I can do it, I know you can do it because I don't even got no time to do it, but I make time to be able to go to the gym, eat right, put less food in my mouth, and make sure that I'm taking in the things that I'm supposed to take in order to maximize the gains that we getting from our workout. All right. So it's going to be awesome. Shout out to CKJ3 says, congrats to the real. What are your thoughts on Ben Carson's name being taken down? Ben Carson's name is being taken down? I'm going to mind through that in a minute. I'm glad you brought that to my attention. Thank you for the 50 ball. Let me save your super chat because I'm going to come back to you. And thank you to everybody that contributes to the platform. Let me tackle this Twitch situation really quickly. I'm coming back to that super chat because I didn't know that. The story behind Twitch is something that I hear far too often, but I can't relate to. I can't relate to it. And you can hold me accountable for my take that I'm about to have on this because I'm speaking partially, and I'm going to save all y'all super chats. I see you, Aaron. I'm speaking partially out of ignorance, but I got to give my thoughts because part of me documenting the journey is also going back and looking at the videos to see how I possibly could have evolved, right? How I possibly could evolve. So maybe a year from now, once you guys give me more insight and information or you hold me accountable, because I'm willing to come back to the front of the congregation and say, yeah, I was wrong about that, or maybe I need to think about it a little bit differently. I'm speaking a little bit out of ignorance because I can't relate. But I have to give my authentic thoughts because I can relate simply because we are the same age, there is a level of visibility, and we have a family. Let me say that again. We are the same age, I have a level of visibility, and we have families, meaning that we have people that depend on us. Now, just to bring you in up to speed, his death was ruled as a homicide. And let me share with you the article really quickly so you guys can understand what it is that we're talking about right here, right? So, death was ruled as a homicide. I'm sorry, not a homicide, a suicide. And it says his cause of death is confirmed by the coroner after the beloved dancer is found dead. Said that statement said the 40-year-old professional dancer died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. His death occurred Tuesday in a motel in the Encino area of Los Angeles. Case is now closed. Said it's with the heaviest of hearts that I have to share my husband, Stephen, has left us, said Allison, 34, which I'm guessing is his wife. Stephen lit up the room that everyone he stepped in every room he stepped into. He valued his family, friends, and community above all else. Leading with love and light was everything to him. He was the backbone of our family and the best husband and father and an inspiration to his fans. Now, the thing that I have to ask myself as she says this statement is, was this written for her? Was this written for her? Because I believe that love is an action word. Now, I'm not going to remove the idea that people are going through things or there can be a chemical imbalance or whatever, so on and so forth. But see, I stand on one thing and one thing only. And the one thing that I stand on is that I can't fail the people that depend on me because they didn't ask to be here. If we as men, and again, I'm open to being wrong and being corrected. If we as men stand on the idea that we need the people that are around us to buy into our vision and be submissive to us, then we then have to be held to a higher standard, because I can't then hold you accountable for something that I'm not living. And what I'm living is that my daughter needs me and depend on me. And he got 3 kids. And his wife needs him and depends on him. You can't be submissive to somebody that's not here, because now she has to pick up the pieces. And again, I know that this is the unpopular take, but in my opinion, this is the unpopular truth. And the truth is that I think that the most selfish thing that you can do, listen, if you're living on an island by yourself or you're in prison somewhere, by all means, do whatever it is that you feel like is best for you, or go through what you need to go through and handle it how you see fit. I can't control that. But if you then have small children that depend on you, I'm not even just talking about it from the perspective of a person that decides to delete themselves. I'm talking about people that then put themselves in a position that ruin the foundation of what it is that you're building and the people that are around you that's depending on you. I don't put myself in bad situations because I know that I want to put myself in a position to where my daughter don't have to worry about her father not coming home from some self-inflicted wound that I knew better. I'm not talking about something that you do out of ignorance. I'm talking about something that you do because you decided that this was the best course of action despite how it was going to affect the people that's around you. And I don't care what y'all say, it's selfish. It's selfish. You can't sit in here and tell me that it makes sense and that I'm supposed to feel some sort of compassion. And maybe I am some type of monster. Maybe I do remove my feelings when it comes to certain things and my inability to be able to be compassionate with people or see it their way, because all I see is looking at it from a man's perspective. I can't look at it from a woman's perspective. I can't look at it from a child's perspective. The only thing I can look at it from is a leadership perspective, because that's what you chose to be when you decided to get married and have kids. You know what keeps me sometimes? You know what has kept me sometimes? You know what will continue to keep me as I grow in my life? You know what will? Let me share it with you. What keeps me in a lot of instances is the fact that I know I can't do what I want to do sometimes if I was to be feeling weak simply because there's too many people that depend on me. That's what the measure of a man is. One of my pastors told me early in my life as a young kid, and then my father reinforced this. He said, Anton, do you know what a man is? You know what the true measure of a man is? And I'm going to give you some props. I'm going to give you some props. Roderick Harris, an uncle of mine, me and him have not always seen eye to eye, but this is something that, because the same way that I can hold the church accountable when I say that I don't agree with this or I don't agree with my family on that, Roderick Harris was an uncle of mine. And he always said this, and it's something that stuck with me, right? He said, Anton, and we was actually working on the church, and we was laying the roof, and we was building different things, and we was putting in the pews, and he stopped me, and I was sweating, and I was like, man, I'm tired or whatever. And there was a lot of different guys, and we was building the church, right? We was in the neighborhood. We was building the church. We was cutting the grass of all of the neighborhoods around us. We were doing real community services. This is the thing that a lot of people don't understand, is that the foundation of who I am comes from really pouring into the community before I started talking about it. So it's easy for me to then hold people accountable because I've lived it. And he stopped me and he said, Anton, let me talk to you for a minute. And he pulled me to the side and he said, Anton, do you know what the true measure of a man is? And I said, yeah, taking care of your family. He said, nah. I said, being a pillar of the community. He said, nope. I said, going and making sure that you make a lot of money and then being the man that you're supposed to. He said, nah, that's not what the true measure of a man is. He said, that's what you do as a person that's supposed to take care of business. That's being a responsible adult. He said, the true measure of a man, hear me out. The true measure of a man is doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it. Derek Jackson can't relate to that, because that would then define a level of dick discipline. That would then define putting your family first before you. That would then define doing things knowing that you're not going to get the credit for it, but everybody else is going to be taken care of before you. That is making the sacrifice to ensure that the next generation is going to be better as a result of your decisions. Let me say it one more time. He said the true measure of a man is doing a thing you don't want to do when you don't want to do it. When you tired, when you weak, when you don't want to hear what it is that they have to say no more. When you don't feel like going to work, but you know that it's going to change the future of your daughter because you don't want her to have student loans when she grow up. You want to be the reflection of the man that you would want your daughter to marry. You don't want to take the easy way out because the easy way is usually the path of least resistance is usually the way that's going to help you to fail the fastest. He said the true measure of a man is doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it. What that means is that you cannot be a coward. And as unpopular as a take as it may be, and as much as you may not like it, because I know that y'all think that everybody is going to heaven despite their decisions that they make on earth. Nobody is going to hell, everybody is going to heaven. Even though the hell enlargeth itself, and the path of hell is wide, and the path to righteousness is narrow, everybody is going to heaven, right? Everybody is going to heaven. And I don't have a heaven or hell to put him in, so I don't determine whether or not he's going anywhere. But I will say this. It's a coward's way out. It's a coward's way out. It's too many people that's dependent on you that did not ask to be here. If men control access to marriage, then that means that I have to then be responsible for who it is that I'm covering. And if I have kids and I have a wife, and if you don't want to live that life, then just step outside of it. But once you sign up, you don't get no do-overs. This ain't Fortnite. You don't get take-backs. None of that. You don't get to play the game again. This is real life. It's the end of the road. You get one shot. One shot to do it the right way. Figure that shit out. Man the fuck up. I don't care what you got to do. I think therapy is a scam, but if you think that therapy is going to be the thing that you need to go to in order to be able to get yourself together so that you can be the man that you're supposed to be, then lean into that shit. But we don't make excuses. We don't do the things that's going to ruin the people's lives that's dependent on us. Get that shit together. I'm so tired of people crying over self-inflicted wounds. Don't cry over me because I did some dumb shit. Hold me accountable. Celebrate my life because I did some awesome shit. Real talk. That's why I give people their flowers now. Because I want to recognize your greatness and I want you to continue to do it. Now, this has nothing to do with suffering and silence and all of that. Listen, if you're suffering, if you got depression, obviously there's people that's better suited to help you with that than I am. But fight that shit. Fight for your growth. Fight for your change. Fight for your happiness. Fight for the thing that's going to make you the better version of yourself. Stop being a weakling and suffering in silence. Talk about that shit. Go and help. Grab somebody. And if they can't help you, go grab somebody else. Whatever you got to do, not just as a man, but as a human being, to do the thing that is in the best interest of the people that's around you. If you can't do it for you, do it for somebody else. But understand that you leave a ton of carnage in your passing when you decide to do something that's selfish. It is what it is. And again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm off. I'm more than willing to be accountable for what it is that I'm saying. So if you guys think that I'm wrong, you're more than welcome to hold me accountable and we can come back to the table and discuss it. However, I think that it is a selfish thing to have people dependent on you when you decide to take the easy way out, the coward's way out. You get no love from me on that. You get no love from me on that. Make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and then subscribe to Don't Do Coke in the Bathroom. The link is in the description. Tap into the Patreon. Israel Mills says, congratulations, bro. You're an inspiration. Keep pushing forward. Thank you, Israel. I appreciate you. And shout out to all of my Fight Club people also. Yvette says, big news. I'm in the evaluation process of being put on kidney transplant. Yo, can we all get a round of applause for Yvette? Because we've been praying feverishly, fervently for Yvette. Always trying to hold her up in good spirits. I visited you multiple different times. Shout out to you. Shout out to Yvette. We want her to be successful and we want her to live a long, fruitful life. And you know we're going to continue to send up them prayers for you, baby girl. Good news only. Donnie Smith says, I feel bad for the family you left behind, but I agree with you. Taking your own life when people around you are depending on you is a selfish act. I'm not the only one. Thank you for the fireball. I appreciate you, Donnie. Yoli says, I've been on a fitness journey with you since the Apple Watch switches. I'm down a whole person, and congratulations. Shout out to Yoli Yo. You see me still rocking the Apple Watch, right? Got the Apple Watch Ultra. Did have to upgrade, but I put away the Rolexes. The Rolexes is archived right now. We going to go ahead and get that new fitness, that new body, that new person, because we want to live forever. Shout out to Yoli and congratulations. Aaron says, shout out to the gym accountability. Aaron be sending me stuff every day like, yo, you hit the gym today? You hit the gym today? Shout out to my bag chasers. That's also my accountability partners. Mr. Hylel says, some demons are just too strong for some to handle, but suicide is always on the table for me and has been since I'm guessing he said hasn't been on the table and has been since a child. My son is the only thing keeping me here. Outside of that, life is boring to me. I would say, for you, my friend, I would say you should probably tap into your friends and your accountability partners. If you are not a part of not the Patreon, but the Discord, there are people that can probably point you in a better direction than I can. So I'm not going to be the end all be all for advice because this is way out of my wheelhouse. So if you can, my friend, tap in with me and then I'll point you in a direction of some people that can probably help you. Because let me help you to understand something, my friend. Life ain't boring. You just ain't enjoying it the way that you're supposed to. You probably haven't even tapped into to 10% of your potential so that you can truly enjoy what it is that you're capable of. And I think that you are awesome. I think that you have so many different possibilities. And you just need to align yourself with people that can actually help you realize your potential. Life ain't boring. You just ain't started living yet. Trust me. Send me an email or reach out to me, my friend. And hopefully I can point you in the right direction because let me just tell you something. It ain't never on the table. It's off the table. Say it with me. It's off the table. I ain't trying to convince you. I'm telling you. It's off the table. That ain't even your life. That ain't your life, big dog. You ain't meant to not be here. You meant to be able to pour into people and be a success story so that you can be an example for other people that come after you. All right?